playoff should have 8 teams instead of 4. So last year, the NCAA finally made a big step in the future, and instead of doing the BCS era, we have finally moved to a playoffs, which, as you can see, just from this year's alone, that it made a big difference, because if it had been the normal BCS national championships, you would have had Alabama versus Oregon, and neither of which are national champion. Instead, it's number 4, Ohio State. So you can see that there's a big problem that we have in ranking in different systems, and that way the playoff has kind of accumulated for it. But ESPN polled coaches, players, and different fans and asked them about what they would prefer an 18 playoff over a 14 playoff. And out of the coaches, 45% coaches said they wanted 18, 29% they said they liked the 14 method, and 16% said they would even want a 16-team pool, and left 9 people who were pretty much indifferent on the situation. Many of the athletes also agreed, about 75% of athletes, that they wanted an 18 playoff because it gives them a chance to actually see different teams play each other and give them a chance to work their way up into the system, and pretty much almost 100% of fans wanted an 18 playoff. So there's one big problem with the current playoff, and it's that we're in an era of 5 power conferences. You have the ACC, the SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, and Big 10. As you can see, 5 spots, or 5 people in 4 spots. Someone's always going to be left out. And you're like, oh well, I mean, they weren't as good, kind of, oh, like next year they can do better. But that leads to the second part of the problem. We have an error in our ranking system due to like different conferences and schedules. You do your best to try and say, well, them playing this team and beating this team makes them better, but you can't really see that just off of numbers. It's kind of a statistical error that can be led there. And you can see that alone in 2014 there was a very specific problem, and there was a debate with TCU and Baylor as to saying who should be in. Out of the top 8 teams, 7 of which were 11-1, and 1 was 12-0. So how do you decide between 7, 11, and 1 who gets the 3 spots? In this one, TCU and Baylor were 5 and 6, and it was very controversial who was going to get the 4th spot, or who was going to be up there. And both of them were out, and it was even more of a problem after TCU's Peach Bowl game, when they pretty much just dominated against Ole Miss and beat them 42-3 after taking out their starters in the 3rd quarter. So, as 538 Sports said, this wasn't an outlier. A 14 playoff is liable to produce similar controversies more often than not. So, what an 18 playoff has to offer. A lot of people, skeptics, are worried about the finances of an 18 thing, saying it's not going to produce enough. Well, it's almost laughable from some of the statistics you can look at. In 2014, just the national championship alone grossed more than any other BCS national championship. And then Forbes predicted that schools are leaving $250 to $300 million behind by limiting to a 14 playoff as opposed to an 18 playoff. And then this would be solving an 18 playoff will solve the Power 5 dilemma. This would have been our top 8 this year, and you would have been able to have you would see the different things. Alabama would have played Michigan, Ohio State, Baylor. You get more different conference matchups to see truly who is the power conference. And then, so this is from CBS Sports. Another great thing is it's more practice for the NFL. These players are elite athletes, and we are who are we to argue that they can't handle an extra round of games? But most of the people in these situations will be drafted in the next 1 or 2 years. And we're saying that 13 games is too much when the average NFL season is 16 games before postseason even occurs. That's not for us to decide, it's for the athletes. And then the number 1 argument against an 18 playoff is that it can conflict with the academic calendars. From Double T Sports Center, when they looked at how this would actually affect, it affects under 10% of teams. It would not actually affect any of their seasons and making it go past the academic calendars. That's less than 10 teams, most of which are not ranked high enough to even be considered for the problem. But if you did have the solution for the 10 teams, you could cut down 1 week of preseason and have allow 1 week for the extra round of playoffs, which will allow another round of playoffs. And instead of just having games which bring in low income and generally are just morale boosters, you could have a more exciting end of the season. So in conclusion, there's a lot more pros than there are to cons of having an 18 playoff as opposed to a 4-team playoff, and many are supported by fans, coaches, athletes, newscasters alike all agree that it should be an 8-team as